Pigeons 420. Mr. Grow It. From the stack.
This episode is brought to you by AC Infinity. Check out their Cloud Ray Gen 2 oscillating clip fan. Their next-gen clip fan has been re-engineered to provide a long-lasting motor and customizable airflow for all stages of your plant's growth cycle. It features 10 speeds and 10 dynamic wind modes to simulate outdoor airflow and links with UIS controllers for Wi-Fi app control. Click the link in the description section below so you can learn more about their Cloud Ray clip fans, and the discount code THESTASH15 works on both Amazon and their website, acinfinity.com.
Growers who are looking for that secret sauce usually are just missing something from their garden. And to help with that, we bring you the Stash Blend Premium Plant Additive. Stash Blend brings beneficial bacteria, silicon, seaweed, humic acid, and has enough macronutrition to help lower the dosages of your base feed too. Unleash your plant's true potential with Stash Blend Premium Plant Additive. Available at Growers House. From
Guys,
the Stash Podcast.
I wanted to do it.
Okay, go it.
What's up, guys? Welcome to From the Stash Podcast. Rob never lets me say this.
I've never let him say it.
Take it away. I got
From
nervous.
the Stash Podcast. It's me, Rob. It's Mr. Grow It. It's Pigeon 420 and Wink on the ones and twos.
What's
we are
up, guys?
live. Another Canadian episode.
In
boys.
person in Winnipeg, yeah. This is the second one in a row that
We've all learned French. Oui, oui.
Oui, yeah, and you're
Bonjour.
really
Bon voyage.
you're really good at hey there, bud.
Hey there, bud. Whoa
Sorry.
there, bud. Sorry is another one I've learned.
Get you anywhere you need to be.
You know,
Guys,
I
can't believe you guys came back after the first trip. That was crazy.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
glad you guys did it
every
again.
single week we're coming out here. We're
Every
traveling
week.
every single week. And I think that's the thing that makes me enjoy this more and more is it's every time kicking it with you boys.
It's always so much fun, man.
Yeah.
It's always so much fun.
See, the thing that I've learned about this area, it feels a lot like Michigan, so I don't feel out of place. But then we've got P's electric vehicle, and we're charging vehicles at places, and I'm like, what are we sitting here for again? Oh, yeah, that's right. We're charging the vehicle. It's like, I feel like we're driving in a Puffco. Or like a Dr. Dabber or something where it's just like it's
You only
advanced
get so many
technology.
rips.
Well, and I don't know what the hell it is, so I can't even tell when things are going awry. And all of a sudden, I'll see it blinking low battery, and you're just like, "We're good." And I'm like, "It says 6%." Like we're good. Like 30 more minutes, we're good. And I'm like, 30 more. We're gonna lock up the car and not.
We're gonna die?
Yeah, like that's always sketches me out. I always
Introducing the boys to the electric car has been an absolute
it's
blast.
been a lesson.
We got the full tutorial.
Yeah.
Should have filmed that, put it on YouTube. It would have
I know.
made a bunch of money off of monetization.
You're right,
man.
I should've
been
Jeez,
great
it was
from the last episode.
step by step on how to
Hey,
how to
Ford.
drive an electrical vehicle.
Ford. From the Stash, brought to you by Ford.
Yeah, it was good. No, it was a lot
Course
of fun.
coming soon.
This entire trip, 4 round trips to Winnipeg for $6.
It's crazy.
I think it was 12.
And that was Canadian too.
yeah,
it was
so
like-
$8 American.
Yeah,
You're getting
$8 American.
You're doing 800 miles.
Yeah.
yeah.
And there's the
not
lessons learned right there.
Not
Yeah.
bad at all. Not bad
It's
at
been an
all.
interesting take. I feel like one thing I've noticed out here, the biggest lesson I've gotten out here is pretty much just smoke peas, bud, or have pea help you find the bud.
I know where the good
I'm
weed
not
is.
used to this. Like Vegas, I've always got my liaison, as known as Chris, who shows up with a couple jars, and somehow, some way, my stuff's there. I don't know how the that happens. It's weird, but I'm always just so comfortable. And now I'm like
Nervous?
Yeah, I'm like nervous when I got here, but then the second I pull up having something, and then we recently got mom flour, which I guess we'll have on a live stream.
Yes.
You may have already seen it at this point, but going over that, where I was just like, wow, dude, I no longer have to have concern when I come to Canada. I can pre-plan my trip to Canada as long as I know where I'm going to be,
That's right.
and I can ship myself something
That's
fire,
right.
and that's totally legal in this area.
It's
Lesson
not
learned.
bad. You can send herb through the mail here in Canada.
I
No
love
problems at all, baby. No
love
problems
it.
at all. Yeah, it made the trip a lot easier because you're right. Typically, I'm the only one that can't bring product
I know.
across. And here, I land, and there's always an abundance.
Well, and then we were doing the trip, and I'm like, oh, this is what P's done. This is what he's done. Okay, because we drove like 3 hours to Detroit, and I'm like, what the f***? Why would anybody do this? I'm like, wait. Pigeons does this every single time he visits us. And we had a connecting flight. I'm like, wait. Pigeons has done this every other time he's visited besides the one time. So it's like, it's not bad. But it's like, I've definitely learned my lesson. If I'm going to travel, I'm going to travel with more confidence and less paranoia. especially if there's French-speaking people. That definitely had me thrown sideways. And then my confidence in knowing that I would have enough relos. Because I'm like, I'm going to be good. I have no problem here. But it turns out they sell tiny little pieces of cigars with the tips. They're like Black and Mild-ish. Black and Mild for kids or something. I don't know what the hell. And they're hidden, so you got to figure out and find out. And I bought a whole box of relos, and they're the most sensitive, crusty, dry, shitty, mummified. Like, and I'm getting down there. Because I'm a habitual blunt smoker, allegedly.
Welcome to Canada, baby.
Yeah.
Welcome to Canada.
These are lessons
baby.
I've learned from Canada, and I think that kind of segues us into a conversation of something we talked about years ago, and I don't remember when. Chris is a thesaurus of dates. You got to.
I forgot to look it up.
Son
Usually
of
I
a
like to look
bitch.
it up and be like, oh, 2 years ago we talked about this. But yeah, we did do a part one of, part one will actually be in the description section.
Yeah, we
So
will. We'll put it
if you
there.
want to reference
I was
that.
going to
and-
say, comment below if you know.
Or
Yeah.
comment, if you're gonna, if you know,
If you don't peek.
if you don't look,
She-
we trust your judgment. We trust you wouldn't do that.
I'm
You
pretty
know?
sure it was several years ago where we had this conversation.
7 or 8
and
years.
Man, 7 or 8 years.
I was just
It's been a very, very long time. And so we're always learning, right?
Yeah.
New lessons have been learned since the last time we had this conversation. So let's get into it. I think it was a very popular episode as well.
Yeah,
Top
dude.
What are we
lessons learned
talking
in the
about?
garden.
Top lessons learned in the garden. I think it's fair to say that a few years ago, our gardens, well, all of our gardens looked vastly different
A lot better
than they do
My
today.
garden's just vegging right now.
Yes.
And
You are
seeded
in a whole
plants.
different location
Yep.
than you are now.
Oh, yeah.
So things were probably a little different. I know I was doing things different. Yeah.
Very different.
Much different. Much different. So
That was back
top,
when you were in an open room, wasn't it?
top lessons. Yeah,
open room
2.5.
before,
It was over 2 years.
That
It
was when you
but-
said, "I'll never grow in a tent."
I didn't. I did. No, I mean, yes, I did say that. I didn't.
I didn't.
I was going to say I didn't say that. No.
Yes, I did.
I
did.
didn't expect that I would never ever grow into a tent. Yes, I
love how
didn't say that.
You were like, "Whoa, I never said that."
Whoa.
Yes, I said that.
And there's clips. And there's clips of it, in fact, actually, and they've spread viral. But
good.
no, I didn't expect. That's what I wanted to say. That I would ever grow in a tent. Not only did I not expect I would grow in a tent, I didn't expect the advancements today to be where they are today. You've got an entirely automated system by multiple companies. ACI promo code.
The Stash
The
15.
Stash 15, if you're curious. You've got the
Bitch.
Canitrol. That wasn't around 2.5 years ago.
Canitrol needs to give
3
us
years
that,
ago,
that,
you know.
that sponsor at this point.
Right, right. I'm just
Shout out
thinking.
to Chris.
It's
Mention them a lot.
amazing. There wasn't grow box.
Mr.
There
Grow
wasn't
at
grow
Canitrol.
boxes back then. Now you can buy a fully automated grow box.
Dude.
So it's like there was a smart box.
Well, I
knows
mean, there
the
was
temp-
shitty.
so-
There was shitty grow. There's a Phototron. If anybody remembers that, probably not.
Oh
up
my
here.
god, the little the pyramid.
Like, the little. Oh, it was a
Okay,
ghetto-
okay, you're right. There were grow box. I remember
They're
the pyramid
dumb.
one, but nothing like today. Smart
no.
grow boxes. So, top lessons learned in the garden. What do you got, Chris? What do you got?
I got to bring it all the way back to the beginning for this one. And I don't know if this was in part one or not. I don't think it was in the part one. But top lessons learned in the garden is back when I very first started growing, I went deep into the woods and found next to a little stream. It was nice water, looked like moist soil. And I just put a seed in there and came back 2 months later. And I expected it to be grown.
I figured,
And it
I
wasn't.
figured you would.
That was the top lessons learned. I didn't know what I was doing back then. I realized
You
that
sound
there
like
needs
Dave
a
Chappelle
lot
for a
more
minute.
things. A lot
And
more
I
things.
expected it to be grown, but it was not.
Jerry
It turns out.
I quickly learned that you can't do that. I didn't have enough sunlight. There were tall, spindly plants. There was no flowers on them. I needed to learn how to grow. That was the lessons learned. Is like there's more to it than that. Just figured that'd be a funny one to start with.
You're 100% right. Top lessons grown. This plant doesn't grow overnight.
Oh man, dude.
I'm telling you, lesson one that I have when it comes to the things that I think you need when you go to grow herb. You need, sorry, Jesse. You're going to need a
keeping
solid supply, man. Because if you don't have a solid supply,
Wheat.
you will never get through the entire stages of that growth. Me, when I grew my very first plant, only got, well, I never truly harvested anything because every time I would see a bud, I'd stick it in the toaster in some tinfoil and try to dry that thing so I could pop it into a pipe and just make it disappear.
I
And
did the microwave once, thinking that would work.
if I had
On just
then
leaves.
Just yep. And then the
It's like-
fucking
and brown.
the toast, or not the toaster, the oven, and you open the oven, like just on the oven door. If you lay
But
it on
tell
top
me.
of the oven door,
You both got high off it.
I did.
No,
I did.
not me.
Oh, I did.
no.
Oh, I got high, but
you
wasn't
convinced
enjoyable.
yourself you were high.
I
Yeah,
maybe wasn't.
from the
Yeah,
back.
Wink knows. Maybe
Yep.
I wasn't high.
Expectancy bias. You know, you do something, you're expecting it to happen, so you're biased towards it, and you say, "Oh
Yep.
yeah, it happened."
Like every
Doctor.
grower.
even
Even
though
ever
it might
had.
not have.
Yep.
Dr. VPD
Yep.
over here. Yeah, he's right. You know, it's funny. Like my biggest thing that I've learned outside of that helped me teach myself outside of growing our favorite plant is that VPD is a real thing. This isn't just for. Now it helps obviously for that cultivar, but it's for that particular species of plant. But honestly, your entire grow, man, I've noticed that for my indoor plants where I'm like, oh, well, why is this bamboo plant growing like shit? And I'm like, oh, well, the climate is different that it wants. So what I'm looking at this VPD chart is for this plant. It's not even the same. It's not going to want the same chart. It's not going to flow in that same area, so to speak. Something that's more tropical, for example. I'm not thinking in that sense. I'm like, oh, well, I know NPK. So it's going to want typical and all this. It's like, yeah, but what that particular species of plant wants is a little different. So it's helped me utilize some of these thought processes when it's like deductive reasoning of why my plant's looking like shit. And I'm like, why is this yellowing over here? My just regular little house plant. And I'm like, oh, well, it turns out that I have a very bad environment for it. The humidity has been absolutely insane. My house is cold constantly because the air conditioner is just blasting. And, well, I want it to be darker because it's light on my TV. So I close the blinds, you know. So all these factors made me realize that what I learned for gardening, our plan is botany as well. This is something that I'm able to utilize for farming and cultivation. And now I feel like I'm more self-sufficient to be able to grow, period. So it's helped me with my confidence for cultivation as a whole, like heavily. So much so where people are always like, oh, Rob knows plants. I'm like, yeah, actually I do. Yeah. What does this one normally need? And then that's when I can factor it in because I know the basics of cultivation, but for a different kind of species of plant, you know?
Yeah, and you know, we're talking. I don't know if you're talking specifically different varieties and cultivars and strains of this one plant, or are you talking about other plants as well? Because other plants as well, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, well, going back to the first part, which was that is a lessons learned, right? Is that each variety, cultivar, strain, whatever you want to call it, it can have different morphology, right? Different expressions, different needs, grow better in different types of climates. And I think that's a huge lessons learned. I mean, I didn't know that for the first, you know, I don't know when I learned it, maybe 6 years in or something like that.
Dude,
when I really learned that.
Weed. Even phenotypes, even the expressions of the fact that you're like, oh, this one leans heavy to the brisker. It's like, oh, okay. So now my mind makes sense when someone's like, oh, this is the gassy stuff. And you get it and you're like, this tastes fruity. It's like, oh, well, that's lean towards its mom more, or to the dad more.
Yep.
This is things that I think you realize in time as you grow, but you don't understand it until you actually grow. If you're just getting the flower, you don't appreciate it. You're just a consumer. Once you actually cultivate and you're like, you have 3 seeds, and you're like, why the hell are these two different? But this one right here stands out, like, you know, it says what the description is, and it's right. But these two here are unique. Like, oh, all right, things grow differently. Like the environmental impact, the genetics, of course, but it's stuff that you can carry into outside of just growing bud, you know. And I think that's my two-sided. I'll take yours, mix it back into mine. It's a two-sided part that it makes more sense now when I go through this, and I've seen things my mom do when I was a kid for tomatoes, and I'm like, oh, trellis netting. Okay, and I'm like, oh, trellis netting. This
Tomato cages. It's a trellis designed for a tomato plant.
You know, for vertical growth, to stop the height from the plant, topping the plants. Like that was cloning it. My mom would just take it and put it in the ground. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And then I do it now with all this shit. And I'm like, oh, it's the same thing she's been doing for all these years. Hers was just a little more low tech, you know?
We're in just a couple months, actually, we are going to be celebrating 4 years of From the Stash.
Are we going to do anything?
And will we do? Probably. We're probably going to feed the kids. Should we? Anyway, still, let's not plant that seed.
Already,
let's not plant that seed because that's been a nightmare every time we've tried.
Jesse had
For a multitude of reasons, mainly because PayPal shuts us down every time we do a thing. But anyways, we have to end up paying it, and then PayPal takes weeks for us to get the money. And anyways, that's not the point. I want us to sit here right now. I want to mark this down. It's we're probably, I don't know, probably late August. I don't know the date. It's been a little. It's been a long time.
We've been in this basement.
I'm thinking
locked in here.
I don't know the date, but the thing is that we actually, when we first started FTS, used to refer to it as strain. Then
Dr. Chris came in.
science came
Made me
around,
feel stupid
and
quick.
all of a sudden it became cultivar. And not only do when we say this, I now no longer say strain or cultivar because I don't know either or which is correct. So I just say genetic. That's what I want to take. For the record, I want to take credit for inserting that term there. I want to take credit for inserting that. However, that's what is FTS? What stand is FTS going to take right now in regard? Is it cultivar, strain? Is it cultivar or strain? What are we going to start saying from now on?
I say it, they, or them for my genetics.
It, they, or them? What
Because I don't
pronoun
want
are
to
you?
offend anyone.
It's always going to be split.
Well, you're a
I don't want to offend
Sorry,
anyone
Jesse.
with strain or genetic.
Well, not everything is a cultivar, right?
cultivar.
Cultivated variety. There's just varieties, and then strain isn't really a botanical term, but
But I
in
feel
our
like when we
industry,
say
it
that-
turned into a botanical term in a sense, right? So it's like you got people that are just split on both sides on what to
But
call
I feel
it.
like when we say that, people literally in their ears, they transit it to strain isn't a botanical term. So we have to like every time be like cultivar or strain. We're cool. We're cool.
That's why I think
But also
genetic is
Coca-Cola,
gonna, That's why I
Coca-Cola.
think genetic is going to
Tomatoes, tomatoes.
Yeah.
I think genetic's going to take over.
Well, I think that's the easiest
Because
way to
genetic
get it.
is so
Pecan, not
broad.
pecan.
Oh, yeah. It's genotype,
Pecan.
not phenotype.
I say
It's like-
pecan. It's trichrome.
Yeah.
Sorry, we just lost a few viewers on that
Another
one. didn't
guy.
we?
That's more
I'm
so
sorry.
Another one.
pronunciation
Another one.
versus definition.
course,
but
of course.
yeah.
But that's
but
yeah.
Splitting hairs here.
We are splitting them, but I think that's
Splitting
the point though. Is sometimes you look at
Whittling
these
canoes.
things where you don't know until you know. When I first started making content, I would say vernacular that made no sense to a new consumer or new cultivator. Like they'd have no idea when I'm talking about
LST,
terps.
HST.
Or when I'm just saying
alone.
terps too. I'm not even saying terpenes. So when they hear it afterwards, they're like, terpenes, terpines, terps, terps, right? And it's like, well,
Yeah, you heard it. You heard it right here first. When I'm on T with P, I say nudes
yeah,
instead of news, and people lose their mind. The amount of engagement in the comment section I get because people are like, "Did you say? Am I here? Like every episode? Did you say nudes?"
That's
the only time I'm saying
Herb
it.
instead of herb.
Oh, that
That's
cried my
another
ears.
one.
We don't silence. They don't silence
silence
for
anyone
no
in
reason.
Canada, man.
Okay, we don't silence anyone in Canada. We don't
inclusive as
discriminate
fuck.
against anything. Okay.
But I think that's the thing is one thing lesson I've learned is the vocabulary and how you're articulating something to somebody means everything with getting your answer when it comes to having an issue with your plant. When I walked into a grow store years ago, and how I found out I had flying root aphids, they were flying winged root aphids, it was horrible, was my dumbass describing the issues and not really knowing how to describe it. I was like, it was yellowing, curling, and like the hairs are a little like wonky looking, and he's like, yellow, like I'm just saying general terms. Once I started to actually understand, well, first I brought the plant like leaves in to show, and he was like, oh, this looks like you have a pest or something, dude. This is not normal stress from anything. Then I brought a little soil into him, got it tested, and he's like, oh yeah, winged root aphids, brother. It's like, oh, but I didn't know how to even describe my problem. So learning the basics of the vocabulary is massive, and I learned that after all these years, and still just cultivar, just being a thing that I used to think of just a cultivator or a cultivation facility. I used to just think it like the cultivar must be the grower and not cultivator, just because I'm dumb. So it's a similar thing where if you don't know how to articulate something, just like not knowing a language when you're in Montreal, it's hard to get the right direction,
Or not knowing Humboldt Seed Co. versus Humboldt Seed Organization.
You know what? No one's splitting hairs.
Did
how
you
many
did you
videos
say
I've
that
done,
story?
dude? Oh my God. Dude, I sat there literally embarrassing myself to Ben and Nat, and respect to them. We crack jokes, but they're great
From
guys
Humboldt
and hard
Seed
workers
Co.
from Humboldt Seed Company.
Yep.
I'm sitting there, I'm like,
Great
dude,
guys.
I love the
Great guys.
Geist OG. I love all these genetics here. He's like, Humboldt Seed Organization, actually. And then, of course, my dumb ass keeps calling them Humboldt Seed Organization repeatedly. I made like 3 videos and said it enough to the point somebody told me, like, it's Humboldt Seed Company. You said Humboldt Seed Organization. First words in the video. So I had to go and just edit it out, and I don't say who the breeder is in the video. And it's like, if you don't know how to say things right, well, you get no good answer. And it makes you look bad, too. So learning this stuff over time, it's a big lesson that I've learned is making sure that you get into this nitty-gritty of this space. Don't just surface level it, because once you have an issue, and you've been doing it a long time, someone might grill you. Or they might laugh you out of the room. Like me, I get laughed at sometimes.
It's fair. I'm used to it.
Yeah.
One thing, this is actually fairly recent. A few weeks ago, we dropped an episode with a good friend of ours, Mr. Zaza Genetics.
Zaza.
And he had a conversation in regards to, let me speak into the mic so you can hear me. He had a conversation in regards to the responsibility of the grower to find good genetics. Good genetics, although should be on the breeder, is on the onus of the grower to find.
Consumer awareness.
You
consumer
need
beware.
consumer
Buyer beware.
awareness, man. You need to do the homework of your genetics. You need to know. It's not necessarily that this is something that I learned myself. It's that this is something that I learned from a breeder,
reputable,
a reputable breeder, someone who's putting out quality product that's saying, you know what, I am putting out great stuff. But if you're not going to do the homework of the person in which, or organization or company in which you are getting your genetic, whoops,
yeah, I'm dumb. Okay, we get it.
Then it is on you. It's on you. If you're trying to grow more stress and less fire, then it's on you. I'm sorry again. It's on you because you didn't do the homework to avoid these mishaps. And that's a big thing that I learned because when we're looking for genetics, when I was looking for genetics as a young lass, I was going White Widow, enter. Girl Scout cookies, enter.
You get some Royal Queen
Northern
seeds
Lights,
and bad at yourself.
enter.
There's a bunch of different breeders.
I don't know which one's which. I just want Northern Lights. And I'm looking under the description, best grown. Here's a picture of Lord knows what, and it's like that's the one I want. I'm just looking for White Widow. Granted, AI didn't exist in 14, 15. You know what I'm saying? But it would be AI
Those
now.
are Photoshop buds.
It would be AI now because that's what we're seeing. So I want to reiterate this, that we can't blame the provider of those genetics for genetics unless that's really, if they were trying to sell you something, unless, I don't want to throw Zaza under the bus, but I know he's this quality dude. If he was selling you if he was telling you it was quality and it turned out it wasn't, that would be different. That's not happening. That's not happening. You've got breeders, as we've learned, that are standing behind their product. They're saying, no. Do you have an issue? Reach out to me because I'm going to fix it. Real
individuals, when you get to the plug, when you work with the individual breeder.
Fired up about this.
And it could be anywhere from Rasta Jeff, to yourself.
Todd McCormick.
Zaza, Todd McCormick, GT.
Shout out all the legends in the game.
Matt, ICANN-THC.
Everyone you
Swank.
named cares deeply
They're
about what they put out.
Their name, this is their art. Their name is on this canvas, and when you hit them up and say, hey, I had bad results, they may start by saying, what? But then also they want to make sure that you have the best results if they're a good breeder. So they're going to say, well, what can I do to help fix this? What can I give you new genetics? Can I refund you the money so you're not mad?
These are all friends of ours, so I just want to be honest. Yeah, at first they're going to be like, whoa, because they deal with a lot of trolls. They deal with a lot of people that are just throwing their name under the bus anyway. So at first they're going to be like, what? Because
Chad
I've
Westport,
put things through the test. These guys have heat tested, drought tested. They've fed, overfed, underfed. Sorry, I got the hiccups. They've put these plants through the test so they know.
These NAs we're sipping.
These NAs. I haven't had a single drink of alcohol. And the cigars. And the thing is that they're so passionate. This is why I'm fired up about this, is because I was one of those guys. I was one of those guys that would just look at what was hot. What's hot today? Is it runts? Is it permanent marker? Is it some jalapeno? What is it? And I would just Google. Where do I get it from? And someone would pop up. I'm not willing to throw anyone under the bus, but these companies would pop up, and it's like, that's where I can get it from. Little did I know that it just won a cup in Oklahoma that same year. How the hell did it get to Europe in a month? No. So
Copycat.
Oh,
he did it, man.
Yeah, no, you're right, but that's why homework matters.
10 packs, baby.
That's why homework matters, and I really want to stress that. I keep talking a lot because hashtag we're never letting Chris speak, but I want to move on. From that.
What's another grow lesson you got there, bud?
Well, one thing I was going to say.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It relates, and you were pretty much saying this, but you cannot assume that every single thing you get is going to be good.
Well, that's
right?
a good
That is
assumption.
true.
Yep, that's fair.
It's pretty much the same thing you're
Is
kind
it
of saying.
fire or
It
are
is
they a
on
liar?
obviously the grower as well to do the research and be due diligent. But like, yeah, when you're starting out, and then we have so many beginners that are tuning into this that are shopping genetics for the first time, right? You cannot assume every single thing is going to be fire.
Yeah.
So that's where it relates to what you're saying. Do the research, dig deep down, find out who the true breeder is, the first person to put out that particular cross that you're looking to get or whatever, and go through them. So yeah, I just want to add that little.
That's
little
a
bit
very
to
good
it,
point.
yeah.
That's a
Or
very
if
good
it's-
point because
Or I was gonna say, or even if it's a good bank, like shout out Seasman, they'll be like, all right, we'll give you store credit. Like they're so
so fast,
it's
so fast,
quickly to the point
so
where they don't
fast.
even ask, where I'm like, did you ask for some pictures?
That's because it's
some details, because
it's-
I know people are fucking scammers out there, man, and they will honestly grow a whole plant out.
they will
like it, be like, it's all right, and be like,
complain.
nah, it's bullshit. And it's
But
like,
here-
or they ruin their germination and they blame it on the company, and it's like, dude, you waterlogged your seeds, you straight up like drowned your seeds, and you're like, well, why? Like I put them in a paper towel in the basement and left them there for a month. It's
I like to prescribe to the thought that most people are good. There are going to be scammers. There are. Let's be real.
America, the word Canada.
When
right
I
now, so
when
you think
I
it's different.
when I get tools, there's a place up here called Canadian Tire, and I'm sure you guys have a place down there called American Tire. But the thing you don't. But the
Cal's
thing
Tire.
is that you should. Cal's
Cal's.
Tire. He's a good guy. The thing is that they have a lifetime guarantee on their products. If it's got their name on it, and you bring it back, and there's just a piece of that equipment left, and you can explain to them what happened, they will refund it, or not refund it. They'll exchange it for the latest model. And to me, people are like, well, how do you make money by that? Because people are going to come back to you for the next
for the
product.
their products aren't going to break.
They're going
and
to come
shit
back
out
for
on you, like-
consultation. They're going to come back for questions. They're going to come back for product. They're going to come back for something that means something to them. And who are they coming to? You. Why? Because when something went wrong, you had their back. Yes, people are going to scam you, but I think the majority of us have a pretty good sense of character. And it's like, okay, is this guy scamming me? Probably, but is it worth 10 seeds to just get him to shut up
Yeah,
and give
one
him another
time.
10 more? So what? Gone.
And if it's
Forget about
happening
it.
to 5, 10
But if it's a
randos,
legitimate guy who's saying, "Hey, I really thought I ordered 10 seeds, 10 beans, and I got 9 males," man, whose fault is that? Nobody's. But guess what? I can't think of a breeder or someone that wouldn't try to make that right. They show proof, maybe whatever, because obviously there's scams out there. But I just feel like most breeders are about the plant. Most people are about the plant, and I don't know. Maybe it's the glass half full kind of idea, but if you do right and you stand behind your product, that speaks for volumes, and people are going to come to you the next time. That's all. That's all. So do some homework.
And that 9 male example that you're giving out of 10 seeds, for example, right? So it's like, I think that's the reason why a lot of people don't do regulars 5-packs, because
It's like buying Pokemon
it could be a
cards and
bad
expecting all
experience.
Charizards.
It could be a bad experience. If you're a grower, you pop this 5-pack, of every single one ends up being a male.
You hate
that's
that
a bad
breeder now.
experience.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, 10 at the minimum is, in my opinion.
That's the thing is, you see a lot of breeders, yourself included, will put extra seeds in there. I'll be like, I thought it was a 5-pack, like 7 in here.
Throw a couple extra in there, yeah.
Just in case.
Good
and it's like,
customer experience.
I think
these
we kind
seeds
of
don't cost that much money to make.
They don't. They
I
don't.
think that's where we've gone further into another conversation, yes, but we've gone down the rabbit hole a bit. So this is where that lesson goes in the same thing. I think the lesson also is know thy genetic. Maybe not genetic.
That's key.
But when you're ordering these, the name only means so much. When we got our mom bud, we only had the name to go by. We didn't know the companies because they don't allow you to have that information.
or harvest date.
Or harvest dates or anything like that. Breeders, you often know this. Now, when you're getting it from a random company, it's tough even to know that it's that breeder. You can
They're not
say
gonna.
that it is,
They're not
but-
gonna want to share that information
No.
because they're in it about
They don't
them.
wanna.
I just feel like why would they want to share more information? I feel like that we could further rabbit hole this conversation a little bit more, but to avoid that.
Well, I was just bringing it full
No.
circle.
I feel like I could with
yeah.
what I just said. I could further rabbit hole this, but I'm not going to. In regards to one thing lesson that I learned that I think has changed so much over the last year, and we kind of mentioned on it, is how that I never thought I would grow in a tent. One thing that I think the biggest lesson I learned That's a horrible sentence. One lesson that I learned over the years is that automation isn't the devil. I used to preach, and if you look at many of my videos, I always say that, you know, I felt like automation was a disconnect between the grower and the plant, and that they weren't staying connected to that plant. I do stand by the adage that you can't trust a man who doesn't hand water his plants. However,
Sexist.
it isn't. However, if you think
Women
about
can do it, he trusts him. I just don't get it.
if you this is great. This is great. Top buds? Anyone?
Yeah.
I feel like I felt like that when you committed to automation, you were removing yourself from being able to connect yourself with the plant in regards to being vigilant, staying in touch, going in the tent every day. But as the years have progressed and I have succumbed to automation, still hand watering my plants, I now know that that's just not the case.
You sound like a damn dirty hippie.
I now feel like I'm not dirty. I feel as if like now I have more time to focus on bigger things in the garden, what projects that I'm focusing on. I took on a propagation grow tent because I've got another grow tent going over that I don't even know what's growing on.
Get into that.
No, it's sleeping.
Every time we're here.
No, just after 12. It doesn't actually exist. It's AI.
Yeah. As soon as we got here, he's like, "Here's my grow." Shh.
It didn't. It's funny how we never really like. Everything was more important, but the grow space just got ignored.
We didn't even look at
check
it.
it. You didn't even look at my plants.
You showed the pointed and said those are grow.
Those are
things.
tents. If you didn't notice, those are tents. Yeah.
We only use them to clear out the smoke.
Automation isn't the devil. It's going to free up your time to do more things with the plant. Not necessarily more things with your life, but more things with the plant. I'm so thankful for that. I'm so thankful. I have more grow projects going on because I can just say, here, AC Infinity, take care of that one. ACI, take care of that one. ACI, take care of that one.
Dude, they make everything now, so we literally only need to say their name at this point. They make every freaking product for
Yeah.
automation. And I think...
No, not everything.
Oh, not the Canex roll.
No, they do, kind of.
Well, no. What I was going to get
Oh,
at, I'll
container
move on
for-
to the next one, if you don't mind.
I'll
Let Chris speak. You know, hashtag let Chris speak.
It is.
It relates to this. It's more of a
He's
modern.
really good at getting me beers when I do this.
Where's Wing?
Where is she?
I don't know. Wig.
This is P. He's
Wig.
so used to that. He's like,
Wig.
Yeah.
Is there beer in the
me?
fridge behind you?
Yeah,
Sorry,
me?
Chris. Let's speak. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind, please.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah,
No, I didn't want to. I'm trying not to
You're
distract
dancing.
anyone here.
You're just listening. He's in the corner just dancing.
Trying to distract everyone. We got beers in the air.
Beers in
Demanding
Beers
beers
Sorry, Chris, go ahead.
from the producer. No, a modern one. Modern lessons learned. I thought it would be a good one to bring up during this conversation, which is moisture meters being the future. And that is a
That's a
product
good one.
that isn't
Why?
carried,
AC?
isn't made by AC Infinity, and that's a surprising
Why?
one that it's not made. I'm shocked that they haven't put out
That
a moisture meter yet, because that
that could be the
is,
secret
I feel
thing.
like, the future for a lot of home growers in particular. You know what I mean? Obviously, commercial facilities as well. I know a lot of commercial facilities already are using moisture meters in order to really dial in that moisture level in the medium. But at a home grow level, we're not yet it's only a matter of a year or two before it's in almost everybody's garden, right? Because it makes watering so much more easier. And it's really, this kind of hit me like, I want to say like this year or last year, where I'm like, everybody's getting moisture meters now. All these companies are producing moisture meters now. Moisture meters to where you can have several different pots. We have a meter in each pot, and it hooks up to your iPad. And you're looking at your iPad, you're seeing the different percents of the level of moisture in each of the grow pots, so you know exactly when to water those plants. And I feel like this is a technology that AC Infinity will probably eventually put it out if
They probably are working
if they're
on
not working on it. I
If
have
they
no
ever
idea.
got-
But
if they worked with Athena, because Athena talks about dryback so much, but never has I've never heard a home grow recommendation. They've always had commercial grow recommendations to use for your monitoring. That's what we're missing. And I think the only one I've heard of that has that is Pulse.
Pulse, yes,
Pulse has they have an
it.
all-in-one that adds
Oh,
into
you
their
got like the
mix.
Blue Map moisture meters. You've got the EcoWhip moisture meters. So there are a lot of different moisture meters, different
But I mean, like,
technologies
one that-
out there
that
as
works in
well.
components with other equipment, so you can have it all within your same app. Like,
Yeah, I'm not too
you can
sure
probably
about
rig something, but I don't want to get another app. I want one, like, if it's
true.
got to be just the AC Infinity app, damn it. Like,
AC Infinity, come out with a
Come
motion
on,
meter.
guys. Come on.
So hear me out though.
I'll take 12 of them.
4 years in this
I will
game,
take
you know
32.
how many products? 45 of them. No, you know how many products we've inspired this community to create? When we started
and achieve.
4.5 years ago, 3.5 years ago, going on 4, I remember talking about the automation system that I saw coming to the grow community long before AC Infinity ever created it. So wait for
There's
it to
more.
be created now that we mentioned it. I seriously believe that it's
Somebody will be watching this podcast like 3 years later, be like, oh, they put one out almost immediately
almost
after
a
you
week
guys-
later. There was imagine that. They were paid, they're shills. What do we know?
Look me in the face.
But now moisture
much will
meter is
you
the
pay me?
future. Lessons learned.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Another lesson I learned.
I use them on my grass, like when to water my front yard.
Oh yeah, see that's what a lot of traditional agriculture. That's how they know how to make everything perfect. You know, that's how they utilize things. But in this space, we haven't got there quite yet. Another thing I see in commercial facilities that you don't see in home grows is automated mixers to be able to make sure that you maintain mixing your nutrients properly. I mean, you can just throw things together with a water pump. You know what I'm saying, to keep it moving. But I didn't properly know how to mix my nutrients when I first started growing. It's a lesson that I learned that there's actually a step-by-step, unless you're using an all-in-one, like those who are just growing tomatoes may have, God forbid, Miracle Grow. That's what most people are sold, and that's what's everywhere. And it's just a scoop and a bloop, you know? They mix it all up, and it's ready to go.
Can you confirm that was a scoop and a bloop?
A scoop and a bloop.
Okay.
Because it'll scoop and then bloop when it hits in the water. And in America, we bloop. That's a bloop.
Bloop.
Yeah,
Okay, got it.
So the big issue I run into now is people not understanding, do I add this first or after I mix my nutrients, or do I pH balance this, and then do I add stash blend after I do all that? That's a big thing that I didn't realize there was a procedure step by step. There's charts that will have the feeding, what you do, but not always are those step by step when they go in. It's just alphabetical. They're A and they're B. Then it'll go down like that, and it'll say, here's how much per week. And they assume the silica needs to go in first, or you'll need to add your microbes in after the pH. Like, there's so many variables that come in that I did not know were factors until after growing, and still growing. And now I'm like, oh, okay, this is probably why I had, coagulating, nasty, shitty water. And I'm like, what is going on? Why is this lumpy and nasty? How does my water getting thick?
It's funny that you
It's
actually
falling out of solution.
Yeah.
You mentioned this. I think this is a good one to end on. It's funny that I didn't know, and I just got this, that you could get you could get a concoction that included all of those things. You could get yourself something that made your life in the garden so easy by eliminating a ton of different inputs. Hey,
Well,
you see
wait, there's more.
There's more.
Stash
I
Blend?
didn't realize that until Stash Blend came around. There wasn't a product that involved every single additive. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. No, I'm serious. I'm serious about this. We came around. We came up with a product that it involves every
Nobody's done
silica,
this ever.
mycorrhizae, beneficial bacteria, beneficial bacteria that's actively sucking nitrogen out of the environment
Sucked it off.
and using it for your plant. I'm just saying that, like, you would think that by now something like that would be creative. It's easy, it's effective, and it's affordable. But that's not the truth. People were dividing all of these nutrients up into individual bottles, putting a fancy, pretty lady on the front with a picture of a bud and selling it to you for 25 times the market price, and
shark.
doing that for every
Yeah, I said it.
single bottle. Every single bottle, whether it was your silica, whether it was your mycorrhizae, whether it was every single one.
Bloom Yellow Bottles has 18 different bottles, and that includes foliar. Foliar.
I'm just saying.
Foliar.
I'm just saying.
Flex?
Great way to stop. This
Isn't
is
that
a
a flex
this
to
is
have
a
18 bottles?
Hey,
Like,
you know
why
what?
don't we use
Some
6
people are listening to
bottles?
this.
Pussy.
Some people are listening to this and they have no idea that Stash Blend is a product that Rob, Chris, and I and Nate and the good and George
Curious
Murray,
George,
our scientist,
the homie.
and the help from Growers House put together Stash Blend, which is a product that we offer, stashblend.com. And you can make things so much easier. I know it sounds like an infomercial, but the product simply didn't exist until
Call the number below on the screen.
created it, man. It's just, you can make it so damn easy. You can grow fire, grab yourself 2-3 bottles.
Stashblend.com.
And you're getting that right there.
Go there
Had
now.
to, baby. Had to.
Stashblend.com.
That is an
He's
incredible
not
lesson,
wrong.
baby. That was an incredible lesson.
And this is
Listen to
something-
George.
Pigeons was a bottle guy. Like
I was.
crazy.
And listening to George, who was the scientist that helped us formulate this, describe the instant tea that's created by just mixing this. Boom. Got it. Stash.
Caught that.
like,
So, guys, thank you so much for listening to us, man. I know the last minute was a little chaotic, but I'm
We gotta
telling you,
eat.
we
That's
stand
right.
by everything we say. There was no lies that
no,
were
dude.
mentioned today.
we push it because we use it. Like
That's
I mean,
it.
I'm telling you,
I use
like,
it every day.
This could be
Almost
a
every day.
brown bag, like it was for me for a whole year, and I like
Testing phase
It
with
shit worked great.
ugly
dude.
packaging.
Yep, still using it. But it's the biggest thing is not just ours, but other things. You don't have to get a million damn bottles, man. You can get, even if you look at Build a Soil's craft blend mix, it's a scoop, it's a boop. No bloop, it's a boop because it lands in the soil, and you mix it in the top. It's a scoop and a
Boom.
yeah. But dude, that for compared to what Green Goblin, shout out to him, that's my brother from another mother. But he's like listing out 10,000 different things for me to get, and I'm like, dude, organic growing sucks. and then I see I could just
Oh my
get
God.
a couple things.
Now the comments are starting to flood.
Yeah,
But that's what we want.
Thank you.
We want you
It
to
was
drop
old-
comments.
Listen,
want
Let
you to
us
speak
know.
up.
It was because I was like, I got 6 bottles, dude. You just told me 17 different inputs. And he's like, yeah, but you're going to be good for like 10 years, dude. And I'm like, yeah, but I have to get 17 different inputs. You know, like because he broke it down to the
Complicated.
science. But there's easy things out there that have that, dude. Like even if you're dealing with microbes, if you want to be able to have microbes, beneficial bacteria, and a couple other things, you've got Recharge. You've got Advanced Nutrients has a million different bottles. You can go get something like Cronk Nutrients.
And you could avoid all that with Stash Blend and stashblend.com.
that as well. Like, that's enough. You're giving other branch time. Let's go.
But guys, wicked conversation, man, on the things that we've learned while growing this beautiful plant in the decades of experience that the three of us have. There's been some things, and
on
honestly,
100
I
years.
could see a part 3 on this one because I still got a couple things that was like I learned a lot, man. I've
If we
learned a
didn't
lot.
have food plans,
So many
we
lessons.
got a routine for poutine, and I think it's time for us to get going.
Fair.
That's
That's
what-
fair.
Big
Thanks,
thanks to you
Wink.
guys for viewing. Big special thanks to
Patrons.
our
Dude, our
Patreons.
patrons, dude, you guys
We're
patrons
scrolling
down
on the
here.
bottom of the screen right here.
Love you
Thank you
guys.
so
Thank
much
you.
for your support here. It definitely helps keep this podcast going. So
Dude,
thank you.
seriously, man. We're able to do these trips. We're able to make things like this happen. We're able to actually continuously focus on taking these shows to the next level. Like
That's right.
we literally talked for 2+ hours on how to do even more and better. So
That's right.
stay tuned.
Help
You guys
support
us
the
make
short
it.
gang here, boys. Here we go.
We're tall
Shout out to
kings.
Wink on the P's and Q's,
Thanks,
baby.
Wink.
That's my guy.
I'm Pigeons.
I'm
That's
Rob.
Mr. Crowett. That's Rob, he
We're
said.
supposed to do like a.
I was hoping
and
that
we're
it
from
was
the
gonna be fast.
stash. Like, can
I'm
we say it all
Pigeons.
together. And I'm Rob. I'm Chris, and we're from the
See,
stash.
good job,
That would've
Chris.
been so good.
See you guys.
God.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace.